A lot more than $6 million. You mean to tell me that a guy in Quandre Diggs, one of the more versatile safeties in all the National Football League, who is responsible for a whopping 25% of Seattle's total takeaways in the last couple of years. In the last 2 seasons, Seattle has finished with 40 total takeaways, and Quandre Diggs is responsible for 10 of them. 5 picks this past season, and then 5 picks the year before that. Not only is Quandre Diggs responsible for such a large chunk of Seattle's total turnovers, amongst all safeties, Quandre Diggs since 2017 has done a lot of things that fly under the radar because he plays in the Pacific Northwest. Since 2017, Quandre Diggs' 19 interceptions rank 4th in the entire NFL and 2nd amongst all safeties. Since 2017, Quandre Diggs' 244 tackles rank 7th in the entire NFL amongst all safeties. And since 2017, in the past 5 seasons, Quandre Diggs is the only player in the National Football League to record at least 3 interceptions in each of those seasons. Now, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And I know a lot of people have also talked about the franchise tag as a possibility for the Seattle Seahawks. And so that begs the question, what is Quandre Diggs' worth to the Seattle Seahawks? Like I alluded to at the beginning or at the top of the show, he's worth a lot more than a damn $6 million, which places him outside of the top 10 amongst all safeties in the National Football League. That is just absolutely blasphemous, but through no fault of Quandre Diggs. For him to be paid pennies on the dollar relative to his performance on the field is absolute blasphemy, and now is the time for him to cash in. So again, how much is Quandre Diggs worth to the Seattle Seahawks? I'm your host, Calvin Domingo, aka Steezy A. Smith. And just before we hop in, please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Steezy A. Smith, on Twitter at Steezy A. Smith, and also on TikTok at Steezy A. Smith. Don't forget to also hit that subscribe button for us. We're on the road to 4,000. Thank you so much for everyone that's been there for the journey, that has been supporting us on this journey. We can't thank you guys enough. And for the people that have been tuning in, that have been tapping into our live streams in these last couple of weeks, thank you so much. Again, if you have any suggestions, if you have any ideas, let your voice be heard. Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to hop on a future show, be sure to send us a DM on Instagram. Let me know how you guys want to do it. Let's hop right in, shall we?
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the.
I'm not saying the Seattle Seahawks should franchise tag Quandre Diggs just because in Pete Carroll and John Schneider era, the Seattle Seahawks have only used the franchise tag twice. The first time they ever used it was back in 2010 on kicker Olindo Mare, and then back in 2019 on Frank Clark, who they subsequently traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. So obviously that tells us if they've only used it twice in the last 12 or 13 years, they're not very big proponents of the franchise tag. And we know the good and the bad of the franchise tag. Starting off with the bad, not only does it lock you into a higher cap hit, it kind of keeps things a little contentious between player and franchise, just because players are always angling for long-term deals. They want financial security in the long term, and so a franchise tag does not necessarily add that. But if used properly, if taken advantage of, a franchise tag can serve as somewhat of a bridge. It kind of serves as a bridge until the next contract is to be signed, just because we know that the deadline to franchise tag players is March 8th, and then the deadline for players to sign a contract under that franchise tag is come July. And so I'm not a big proponent of Seattle using it on Quandre Diggs, but on the bright side of things, if the Seattle Seahawks were to place a franchise tag on Quandre Diggs, it would more than double his salary from last year. Like I just mentioned, he barely got paid over $6 million last season. So Seattle's return on investment has been exponential, as Quandre Diggs has been a top 10 safety these last couple years. Let's not forget, entering this season, Quandre Diggs was ranked as the 77th best player in the National Football League according to his peers. And so when we're talking about him being a top 10 safety, not only is he a top 10 safety, a top 10 maybe a defensive back in the NFL, he's a top 100 player in all the National Football League. Guys like that just don't get paid $6 million and leave it at that. Now again, going back to the numbers, I don't expect a franchise tag to come into play, but if it is to come into play, I don't see any other candidate from the Seattle Seahawks side of things, opposite or outside of Quandre Diggs, likely to receive the franchise tag. But with Quandre Diggs, look, even a modest 4-year, $40 million deal, as far as average annual value, that would put him in the top 10 as far as top 10 highest paid safeties in the NFL, as Jordan Poyer, who rounds out that top 10 and according to Spotrac makes just a shade under $10 million at about $9.75 million. And so even a contract like that, could help Quandre Diggs squeeze into the top 10 as far as the highest paid guys at his position go. But I take it a step further than that. I understand his age. He's 29 going on 30. He's 5'9", so again, the same height as me, 5'9". And also the fact that he's coming off a broken fibula and a dislocated ankle, which was suffered in the final game of last year back in week 18. And so we don't know if he's going to be ready to go by the start of the season, but we do know that right now, all things and all signs are pointing to him being ready to return on the football field as long as rehab, nothing goes wrong on that front. But with Quandre Diggs, he is most definitely Seattle's most important free agent, and they have to re-sign him. Again, if I had to put a monetary value on what I think his next contract could look like, I'd say a 4-year, $48 million deal. Maybe a 4-year, $50 million deal. And as far as guarantees go, as long as Seattle were to guarantee anywhere from $15 to $20 million of his next contract, that too would also put him in the top 10 amongst all safeties. He has talked about before how he wants to be compensated fairly for what he's done and what he's brought to the city of Seattle. And seeing as how him and Jamal Adams make up arguably a top 2, top 3 safety duo in all the National Football League, as well as comparisons to Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. When you look at Quandre Diggs, he's not just an enforcer. Obviously, when you look at the two, Jamal Adams will be the Cam Chancellor and Quandre Diggs will be the Earl Thomas. But Quandre Diggs is so much more than just that. Yes, he can cover just about all the range that you'd ask for in the safety, but not only that, like I said, he's as versatile as they come. He's able to step into the box. He's one of the most ferocious hitters regardless of position in all the National Football League. And I think that is evidenced by the fact that his 244 tackles since 2017 ranks 7th amongst all safeties. His impact has truly been felt, and since his arrival in the middle of the 2019 season, Diggs has 13 interceptions in 38 games. He's a back-to-back 2-time Pro Bowler in the last couple of years. And as it pertains to what he did this past year in coverage, he allowed a sub 80 passer rating and passes thrown in his direction. According to Pro Football Focus, that number was 77.9. Seattle's defense sorely lacks playmakers, guys that can get after the football, guys that are ball hawks, guys that are able to make game-changing plays. Why take that away from the Seattle Seahawks when they barely and when they're unable to create and generate turnovers the way that Quandre Diggs can? I understand the injuries are concerned, age, height, and whatnot, but he's still one of the more under-the-radar safeties in all the National Football League, and it'd be wise, Seattle would be wise to get to that before other teams do. And so again, what is Quandre Diggs worth to the Seattle Seahawks? He's worth being compensated like a top 5, maybe even a top 7 safety in all the National Football League. But again, if I'm John Schneider, I'm giving him a contract, 4 years, $48 million, maybe even a maximum of 4 years, $50 million, with the guarantee of around 20 to 25 million. He's earned it, he deserves it, and he still has a lot of years left to contribute and to provide for the Seattle Seahawks defense. He's an immense leader, a great, well-respected guy in the locker room, and I truly believe that he has to be one of the pieces that are in place. Seattle's going to make any sort of noise in a wide open NFC next season. We've reached the conclusion of the show. If you guys have any sort of thoughts, any sort of questions regarding any of the comments that I made, be sure to let your voices be heard down below. What do you guys think a Quandre Diggs contract is going to look like? Do you think it's feasible that Seattle uses the franchise tag on Quandre Diggs if a long-term deal is unable to be agreed upon? Let us know down below if you guys have any players you want us to cover, any sort of ideas, any topics. And again, if you want to be on a live show in the future, send us a DM on Instagram. Let us know that you're interested. Let us know that you want to hop on. But again, to those of you guys that tuned in, thank you so much. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok at Steezy Smith. Don't forget to also hit that subscribe button. Again, this is your host, Calvin Domingo, aka Steve Smith, checking out. All glory to God. Nothing but love, y'all. Amen. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.